What's up, everybody? Brant Phillips with Real Estate Fundamentals. So I was recently asked to come on to a panel with Real Estate IQ. Check out Real Estate IQ if you haven't done so before in the past. But anyways, I was invited to come on a panel to talk about the good news in real estate. And sometimes, we get so focused on the doom and gloom and worrying about threats and concerns and all this scary stuff that a lot of people watch, via the news, social media, all this kind of stuff. We're inundated with negativity. So we shifted the focus to see about the good news. And I'm going to tell you, whenever there's corrections and disruptions and problems in the markets, my friends, that's when there's the greatest opportunity. So anyways, I was, honored as always when I'm invited to come out and speak or go on Zooms and things like that and speak. So one of my assistants cut up some of the segments and some of my thoughts and my takeaways of some of the opportunities really that I see about some of the good news in real estate. So if you need some good news, if you're looking for some strategies, if you want to see what's working in our business right now when it comes to investing, when it comes to raising private money, all those types of things, check it out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and take some notes. I know you're going to get some takeaways from this. Like I know it. Just wait and see.
And right now, our next speaker, Brant Phillips. Actually, this is my first time. Just like what I told you a while ago, this is my first time to host a webinar with Brant, JC, Bob, and Wayne. And Brant right now is the owner of Invest Home Pro. So he's a full-time real estate investor and completed hundreds of deals. And for me, it's a big, big wow. For those of you who are new to real estate investing, you are in the right place. This is the perfect webinar for you to learn a lot from our speakers, give you tips on how you can further increase your income and further, grow your business. So let me give the floor now to Brent so he can, give us tips on how we can, what are the good news with the real estate investing as of now. So Brent.
Oh man, I thought this was the bad news webinar. I'm at the wrong place. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So I think because of our limited time, I'll focus on kind of what's transpired with COVID. Where we went into this thing beginning of the year not knowing what in the world was going to happen, and I've seen a few things. I've seen some different opportunities kind of surface, and some other things that were already there really just kind of solidify themselves. And for me, just to give everybody a quick background is what I'm focused on in today's market and for the last several years has really been affordable housing. I've done it all in terms of flipping high-end luxury homes and doing new construction development and building a decent sized portfolio of rentals and owner finance notes and commercial property as well. But I've really taken a focus on affordable housing, and even began buying some mobile home parks in the last couple of years. And I love that asset class with just low income, affordable housing, mobile home parks, all that kind of stuff. And when everything started happening with COVID, there was a lot of uncertainty, obviously, with collecting rents and things like that. And I don't know about the other speakers here, but first and foremost, our rent collections haven't really changed. They've been about exactly the same. We've had a couple of people that were laid off and whatnot, but that overall has been good. Now, what I have seen happen in terms of financing, because I know that's the focus, is that with all of the uncertainty that's been going on in the world and in the markets, and just with politics and just this craziness, I see that when there's a lot of uncertainty, people want to run to certainty. They want to run to solid ground. And that's what we have as real estate investors for our lenders, is solid ground, something real, something tangible. And so just in the last couple of months, we closed on a 51 lot subdivision / mobile home park. It's 51 half-acre lots. We closed that with private money. We do have a little bit of seller financing in that, actually, but we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars on that deal. We just went under contract on another mobile home park in another state. We've already secured private money financing on that. We have an offer in on 100 acres that we're going to develop into a affordable housing community, and we've got a waiting line, a long line of private lenders that want in on our deals and what we're doing in the affordable housing space. So that's the good news for me, you know, where the deals haven't been as easy to get. You know, like, I don't think a lot of our fellow real estate entrepreneurs have ducked out of the market just yet. Maybe a few have gotten scared off and things like that. I think that's going to open up fairly soon, at least I hope, you know. But in the meantime, our financing sources are plentiful. We're also going through refinances. We've got 4 rental refinances that we're going through as we speak. So that's really my good news, is that the money's there. If you can focus on, you know, for you guys watching this, you know, you may be asking, like, I guess, what are tips or strategies to raise money? For me, I never really liked the idea of selling people, you know, or even the idea of raising money. And so my focus has always just been on educating people, because a lot of people don't understand about private mortgage lending or how this works, and even that it's an opportunity. So I've really just focused last 7, 8, 9, gosh, almost 10 years of trying to educate as many people as I could, whether it be through live speaking opportunities, whether it be through online. I have, you know, started recording YouTube videos and teaching people about private mortgage lending, not asking to raise money, not offering them any investment opportunity. I just educate, and let you know, relationships transpire. I even took it upon myself. I wrote a book a while back called Private Lender Playbook. Once again, not specifically to raise money, didn't offer or pitch anything, just to help people. And so that's what I guess my encouragement is to everybody watching, is really, you know, seek to help, you know, seek to understand and help people out there, because there's a lot of uncertainty. So if you can provide some solid ground for people, a place to put their money, earn, you know, above market rates of return, secured by real estate with equity that produces cash flow each and every month. If you can do that, and if you can communicate that to your lenders, you're going to do what we've done, you know, and that you'll create a waiting line of private lenders who are waiting to get in on your deals. And I'm talking 6 to 8% interest also, you know. That's the other thing, when all this uncertainty is in the marketplace as well. You know, we have to protect ourselves and our investments. And that's one thing I've always done, is try to run a really sustainable, safe, so to speak, business, so I can keep my track record with my lenders, obviously. But in times like this, a 6% rate of return secured by a piece of real estate with equity is a pretty darn good deal for them as well, because people are, you know, anytime the stock market now, oh, it's an all-time high, you know, I'm like, all right, where's the correction coming? We've already had a couple, right? Drastic drops. So yeah, that's my good news. You know, the money is out there, the people out there that you can help. You got to go find some good deals and structure them right, and just really make it happen.
And also, Brent, any tips for our attendees and for us about how you can further raise your private money in this situation?
Look what we're doing right now. We're all on a Zoom, right? So in the past, the old way of doing business, meaning like 6 months ago, you know, required a lot of like getting together, meeting in person, meeting at your office, meeting at a Starbucks, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I tell my students this, you know, almost every week or every other week when we're on our calls, I'm like, guys, the game has changed. Like we're buying houses now virtually. We're buying houses, like we're talking to sellers via Zoom. You can absolutely talk to your private lenders via Zoom. I met with 2 private lenders last week on a Zoom call. We met, talked for 20 or 30 minutes. And they read my book also, and then watched some videos. They got an email today and they're like, we're ready to go. I've never met these people in my life. I would love to meet them, but probably don't even need to, right? It's just more efficient these days. So I would say, once again, educate, lead with value. You have to market that you're looking for money, but you don't want to do it the wrong way, which is pitching a deal. Really, you're putting yourself in jeopardy of violating SEC guidelines, but there's nothing that prevents us from educating people, talking about an opportunity, going on Facebook, going on LinkedIn, going on YouTube, creating a slideshow about what private mortgage lending is, doing a case study on some of your deals, how you found the deal, how you secure a deal with title commitment, insurance survey, et cetera, and how the private lending aspect works in real estate. So you just do that, like educate people, That's our marketing, guys. You think about like McDonald's, right? You think about Coca-Cola. They're always marketing their product, even though everyone in the free world knows what McDonald's and Coca-Cola is. Do the same thing for your business. You got to get the message out there that you're buying houses, that you help, lenders earn above market rates of return, secure by real estate. And that's really my tip, is just to lead with value, educate people. And the more that you do that, they'll find you, they'll come to you.
All right, thank you so much, Brent. And actually, that is very, very informative, and it will benefit all of our attendees as of now. With this webinar. So our first question is: what are the specifics and differences in your market and opportunities nowadays?
What are the specifics? I'm sorry. What are the specifics and differences?
Yeah, differences in your market and opportunities. In our time right now, and during COVID times.
Well, let me think about how to answer this. Look, the markets are always cyclical. Everything's always going to go up and down. And I learned many years ago that if you are in an asset class, or if you're an investment that only has one exit strategy, and the door to that exit strategy closes, it's not a fun place to be in. So I made a decision many years ago that I wasn't going to make myself totally depend on the market, meaning I was going to focus on deals of the affordable variety, but also deals where I had multiple exit strategies, right? And so when you're a full-time real estate investor and you start building a team and getting offices and creating a marketing budget and overhead, like I get it, like you got to flip some houses, you got to create some cash and create income. So we still do that, but we focus on deals that we'll buy and hold. We'll do owner financing. Occasionally, like we'll just flip it to another investor and get some quick cash. So I'm not going to say that I don't pay attention to the market. I'm just telling you that I don't pay very much attention to the market, because I invest for cash flow. I look for deals that have multiple strategies. And I can't speak on other markets for the most part. I know the East Coast and West Coast, it's not the same game as like the Midwest and the South. But in our market, the deals are still here. But as Mr. Pepe said, hope I said that right, Bob. You got to get more digital in your marketing efforts. Just putting a bunch of mail and postcards in the mail isn't as effective as it used to be. So you have to get some millennials on your team and learn how to compete with who's competing against us, because I'll tell you what, one big thing that has changed, and this can, anything can be good news or bad news depending on your perspective. But one of the challenges in today's market are these tech companies, these really smart people who are really good on the internet are competing against us, and they're figuring out how to scale buying houses and wholesaling and doing it virtually. I was just in a mastermind last week with guys who are buying 20, 30, 40 houses a month. And one of them was a Harvard grad who's like building out this virtual wholesaling system. And he's really smart. And I was like a C-level student pretty much, all through high school. So I'm like, dang, I'm competing against this guy, whether I like it or not. So we just have to embrace the world that we're in and hop on these webinars, reach out to people in your market, sharpen your saw. And when you do that, there's opportunities here. And then the other thing I guess that I would say is that, several years ago, we started noticing that the market wasn't slowing down, and the influx of real estate investors, meaning people that we're competing with, it wasn't reducing. And until we have a major market correction, I would say a major market correction, that's going to be the case. So that's where we just started, analyzing things a few years ago and saying, hey, is what we're doing, what we've been doing, going to continue to work for the next year, 2, 3, 4 years? And the answer was, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. So we made some tweaks to what we're doing on our marketing and things like that. But we also started looking for other opportunities. And that's what really led me down the rabbit hole of looking for mobile home parks. Part of the reason I did it was there's just a lot less competition with parks, right? Like funding is a little bit more difficult. Finding the deals a little bit more difficult. The management a little bit more difficult. So typically, as entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs that solve the biggest problems and do the hardest stuff typically get, rewarded for doing that. And so that's why I would say for anybody, no matter where you're at, is analyze your market, look at what, excites you, what you're good at, what you can build a team to help you with, what you're weak at, and take advantage of that opportunity. And if you can't find those, then look elsewhere, because there's opportunities out there. You just got to keep looking for them.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Brent. And as I have noticed in our attendees that John is raising his hand. So John, I have allowed you to talk. So if you have a question to our panelists, please let us know, and you can unmute yourself. Let us know if you have a question.
Actually, I didn't. I mistakenly raised my hand, but I will ask a question. Brent, I missed part of your conversation, I think, concerning crowdfunding. Or no, I guess actually I was JC, but what are some of the advantages? So debt, equity, but what are the advantages on crowdfunding that you would offer?
Well, I've never done crowdfunding per se, but we do raise capital, and we're on the verge of creating our first fund, which is pretty much like crowdfunding, right? What are the advantages for the investor, or for the lead investor, or for the private lender? Whose perspective?
For the lender.
Okay. So, I guess I'll give my blanket real estate answer to every real estate question in the world, which is it depends. Different investors want different things, right? So I have certain, I kind of like to categorize my lenders into tortoises and hares, right? So typically, as folks get a little bit older in life, in 50s and 60s, they're much more, more risk adverse. So they're looking for just like solid, steady, that little oil well that pumps out, 7 to 10% or whatnot each and every month. Now, other people who are typically, not always, but typically a little bit younger, and are still aggressively pursuing like a financial number, a goal, whatever, they're going to want, they're going to, you know, be willing to take some bigger risks, to be quite frank, and look for equity type of opportunities. So with what we're doing, well, we're actually like basically creating two different types of funds. So one is a big development fund, and inherently, you know, funds are more, there's more risk involved with funds, but there's also a much bigger upside typically. And so that is one of the lures to funds, I guess you'd say, or crowdfunding, depending on what you're getting into, is that piece of equity, you know. That's what it's really about. And then our other fund that we're working on is basically just, it's a fund to fund some of the general investments that we do. You know, some of the fix and flips, as well as some of the mobile home park deals that we're doing. And it's a matter of finding the happy balance. So, you know, you have to just got to look at what your goals are. And I'll give you an example, a couple of different examples that we've done in the past, right? So we have private lenders who consistently lend to us on short-term deals, like 1 to 5 year deals, at somewhere between 6 to 10%, right? Like if it's a short-term fix and flip, it's like 8 to 10. If it's a long-term rental or some type of hold deal, like a mobile home park, for example, could be like in the 6 to 8, 6 to 9% range. But it's out there for 3 to 5 years. They can set it and forget it and not worry about it. There's deals that we've done in the past where we had either a negative cash flow situation in the beginning, say for like 6 to 12 months. And as a rule, I don't like doing that because that's not sustainable over the long term. So we've structured those deals where we have a reduced interest that we pay to our lenders via equity participation mortgage. And we'll give them, say, for example, like a 4% monthly return, which is not great for them. But then we'll also give them a piece of the equity on the back end where, you know, they have a potential to make, you know, much greater than, say, a 10% return or 15, 18%. And then, but you never know, because there's typically a little more risk involved in equity type of deals. So it really boils down to this. As a lender, you know, I like to say that you can typically tell the experience of the borrower by what they pay for their money. And typically the more experienced that you are as a lender or as a real estate investor, you can typically work with the less seasoned folks. And what that equates to is that there may be more risk, so to speak, but you can earn much higher rates of return. And that's who I like to loan to, by the way. I don't like to lend to guys like myself, to be quite honest with you, because guys like me are looking to raise money. They've built a pretty good, you know, pool, I hate to use the word pool, but a pretty good, you know, network of private lenders and bank lenders and things like that where they can get the deals done. I like to find the newer guys because I know enough about the real estate thing to say, okay, here's my risks. I can see if they've got a good grasp of things and really vet their kind of credibility, their experience, and their game plan. But yeah, so that being said, I don't know, you just got to look at your goals, weigh the risks, look at the deal, really take a hard look at the borrower, you know, check their background, check with references. And at the end of the day, it's not a good investment if you can't sleep good at night. So I don't care what that lead investor is promising or promoting. They shouldn't even be promising anything. They should be giving you a PPM or some kind of disclosure statement saying that everything in the world could go wrong. So just proceed with caution. And I'm not even really sure if I've answered your question at all, John, but I hope I have.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, John, for your question. And for our attendees, and also for our Facebook viewers, actually, we are live in Facebook. So for those who are in Facebook right now that they cannot see the questions from our chat box, um, we have a question here for Brant, but if Wayne, Bob, or JC, you have comments about this, his question is, when you say affordable housing, does that mean Section 8? And where do you find mobile home deals?
Section 8 housing, I've done it in the past, and I didn't hate it when I did it. That's it. But no, that's not really what I'm referencing. When I say, affordable housing is housing that our lower income minimum wage folks can call home in a safe, clean environment that they enjoy living in and that actually can contribute to. So something like 30% of Americans live, on like $30,000 a year and less, right? So that's tough. It's really, really tough. So we want housing that they can afford. It's not easy. It's not like an easy fix. So for the most part, when you hear me talking about affordable housing, for the most part, I'm talking about real estate. Okay, I'm talking about mobile homes. We actually have an RV type of community with cabins and RVs where people have lived there for 5 or 10 years and it's home for them. But that being said, it's really, really nice. I go up and visit every couple months and I stay there and it's great. And the residents are great. If they're not great, honestly, we don't let them stay. We're looking for good, hardworking folks who they're on a low income, low budget. So that's really what I'm talking about when I say that. And houses, houses, for example, the low 100,000s, and occasionally we can find deals less than that. They're just harder to find, and it's typically a multiple income situation where the husband and wife both work and they may only make $30,000 a year each, but they can have a good place to call home. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that. There's some type of multifamily structures, and other people are getting into room rentals and things like that for affordable housing. When you hear me talking about it, for the most part, I'm talking about mobile home communities, small cabins. We even have some tiny homes, some RVs, things of that sort.
All right, thanks so much, Brent. And we have a question for all of our panelists. So if you, JC, Bob, Wayne, and Brent can answer this question, what is the biggest piece of advice for that you can give for someone who's just started in this business? And do you think that this is a good time to start at real estate investing? I think we can start with you, Brent.
Sure. It's always a good time. Okay. It's always a good time. It's always a good time. I get asked that all the time, and literally have people that I worked with 12, 13 years ago that wanted to do real estate 12 or 13 years ago. And they're saying, hey, do you think now's a good time? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like it always has been a good time. You just got to navigate your way through it. So I don't know, my best advice is just, get some education, get a game plan together, and just go out and take action and be okay with failing, be okay with fail forward, fail wisely. You don't do dumb things, but you have to get a good base of knowledge, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, of course, and things like that. Attend as many webinars and things like this as you can. Good gravy. Look at YouTube. I mean, stuff that we didn't have access to 10 or 15 years ago. It's like all over the place. So just get some training and go out and do it. It's not that scary. Go out, take action, fail, make some mistakes, learn your way through it, find your niche, and just stick with it and go out and take action. You know, JC mentioned, he's like, you got to get a niche. You know, one of my mentors said, he's like, you know, when it comes to real estate, he's like, find your niche, cut it in half, cut it in your half, cut it in half, focus on that. Just like niche down, niche down, niche down, and don't worry about all this other stuff that you see going on. Just find your little niche, find your lane, and there's plenty of money to be made in little niches in real estate.
Thank you so much, Brant. And to wrap things up with our webinar today, my final question would be, what is the book that you recommend, and any last or final tips for our attendees today and for our Facebook viewers today about real estate investing or any types of business that they have? So probably we can start again with Brent.
Shameless plug, Private Lender Playbook, of course. No, I'm a big Robert Kiyosaki fan. Maybe that's how I cut my teeth, but everyone's read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Probably my favorite book of Robert's, well, The Cash Flow Quadrant is great. My favorite book. Now, I'll tell you, his latest book, Fake, that came out recently was pretty good. It was a pretty good read. But if you haven't read Cash Flow Quadrant, read that first. Cash Flow Quadrant. Final answer.
All right. Thank you so much, Brant.